Oh, man. So, look, we are awaiting the arrival of our tag team partner, BRF Sports. But for right now, welcome back to a special Monday night episode of the Undisputed GOAT podcast, man. And look, hey, we're watching Raw. We just got through with the NBA, draft lottery. It's a lot to cover today. But first and foremost, Flash, how are things going up there in Wisconsin, brother?
Doing pretty good. The weather's starting to change. We had our first like high 70s, almost hit 80 today. So we're getting there with the weather. So it's starting to turn. Just trying not to be fat for the summer. So we're doing good.
Hey man, sometimes bring out the fish fries, bring out the ribs, bring out the strip fries, bring out the what was that? The seafood boils. Let's party this summer.
Friday night fish fry here in Wisconsin.
Yes, let's just bring it out this summer. Let's just bring it out, man. Like I said, we're awaiting the arrival of our tag team partner, BRF. He will be here momentarily. And look, hey, let's just get right into it, man. So the wrestling world lost a legend this past weekend after just wrestling his farewell match a few weeks ago. And I must say, it was a shocker because I didn't think it was true. You know how the media puts out a lot of things, and really, it's really not true. And it's just like, is this really true, or y'all just pulling my leg? But in fact, it was true because the legendary, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal Sabu passed away over the weekend. His cause of death is unknown as of yet. But I do have to ask you, you are a wrestling savant, Flash. What is Sabu's legacy in wrestling, period? Not just in ECW and the WWE, but what is his legacy?
I look at his career as he will be forever known as an ECW icon. And unfortunately, his transition into the mainstream, he was kind of where New Jack was. Like he was like perfect for ECW, but not quite like the WWE. And especially as the WWE is transitioning from like the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression into the PG era, he just to try and find a place where that hardcore niche was which was his thing, and that was starting to be kind of phased out. So his run was short in WWE. And not that memorable. Had a great run, had a run in TNA, and then just kind of went into the independent circuit. But his time in ECW, and his matches with Rob Van Dam and Jerry Lynn
match.
Yeah. I mean, he is one of those hardcore icons on the level of Mick Foley, where he just put his body on the line and did so many things that like just puts you like in awe of how somebody could actually do that to themselves and actually function as a person. So I think I think for the hardcore wrestling fan, all the marks that wanted him to go mainstream didn't really understand the mainstream wrestling business. Like if he would have been in WWE during a lot of the hardcore stuff, he maybe would have made it. But even then, I still think he was just like too perfect for ECW. Like it just worked. And so I think that's his legacy, is completely ECW. He will be an ECW East Coast Philly icon forever.
Hey, when you talk about ECW, there's 4 names that you can't talk about. There's 5, in my humble opinion, that you can't mention ECW without. That's Terry Funk, Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, Raven, and Taz, and not to mention RVD as well. But you can't mention ECW, without mentioning those 6. So because when you talk about stars that were homegrown, homemade, those guys were ECW stars. And you saw it as evident when they had the ECW originals versus the ECW New Generation. You know, they had that rivalry between, you know, Sabu and company versus Marcus Corvon, just to name a few. So you saw that. So it's look, Sabu.
Well, the Dudleys
Was when he go. Everybody remembers when he pointed up to the sky.
Oh yeah.
Everybody remembers when he pointed. And look, that springboard moonsault off the chair is legendary.
Oh yeah.
It is legendary. It's legendary. You just can't. When you talk about moves that did, there are certain moves when you watch wrestling or you watch the person wrestle, you had to see. You had to see. And when you talk about that springboard moonsault off that chair, that is one of those moves. And I think one of the most memorable ones that people will always remember is the one he did against Cena at Vengeance. That one was good.
Yes.
That was superb. It was perfectly orchestrated. In the hardcore match that he put on with John Cena, that one was one for the mainstream. When you think about a lot of ECW guys, the biggest way that I compare them is underground artists who really they are strictly underground guys. It's kind of like underground mixtape guys. But when they finally get their exposure to the mainstream, it's like it goes perfectly. It goes perfect. And I think Sabu and a lot of ECW guys, the hardcore, true to nature ECW guys, your Tommy Dreamer, your Sabus, your Taz, your RVDs, those guys were underground guys that, really hit their mark. So look, I have to say this, man. Thank you, Sabu. I watched ECW. Everybody remembers watching the ECW because it didn't look like it was on cable TV. It didn't look like it was on cable TV. It looked like you literally just hit your It literally looked like you just hit your TV like 3 or 4 times in order to make it come up. So it had a distinct look to it. It had this vintage CBS type look to it that you just couldn't beat. So big ups to Sabu. You'll be missed. The wrestling world mourns today, as we already saw. CM Punk already paid tribute to him on his way out to the ring before Raw even started. And so, look, you'll be missed, Sabu. And I loved watching you wrestle. And even a couple of weeks ago, he was true to form, man. He was out there in that death match doing everything that he could to give us a good show. So big ups to Sabu. I'll get it for you one more time. We appreciate you, man. And let's have a big moment of silence for Sabu, man. Us as wrestling fans, just we can pay our respects and pay homage and give flowers. People never get the flowers while they can still smell them, but today we will give you your flowers. Thank you, Sabu.
Absolutely.
All right. So as we await the arrival of the great BRF from Madison, Georgia, let's get it started, man, because even though BRF is not here as of yet, I know he's going to cook with eggs, with sausage, bacon, and everything else. He gonna cook the platter when he get here. So we go cook first, and we gonna see what BRF can do with the leftovers, because we know he can make chicken salad out of chicken crap, if you really want me to be honest with you. That's how good BRF is, man, as we await for his arrival. I gotta ask you this, Flash, because this is what I was thinking about all Saturday during Mother's Day weekend as I watched Backlash. You remember how now that match between him and Randy Orton was a flat-out banger, and he was in true heel form. Went out there, tried to cheat with the title just like he did with Randy Orton, ended up hitting Randy Orton with the title, told the crowd to shh before he got in there. I mean, he was true to form to his heel run. But as we all saw at the end of the match, when the fans were saying, "Thank you, Cena. Thank you, Cena," you saw how emotional he was when he got out of the ring. You saw how, that humanity started coming out of him. Is John Cena starting to regret selling out? Will we see a babyface Cena very, very soon?
I don't think it's going to be soon. What I love is that everybody's, you see a lot of internet chatter that this has been a poor heel turn, that people aren't feeling it. It's just, it's not. And again, I've always implored, give it time. And if you listen to Cena's promos since he's turned heel, or the hints at it turning heel, besides it being best for business, this heel turn has been about the fan or fans. Every promo is about he's pointing the finger at the fans. And we've also we've theorized, well, what wrestler, is going to turn him back to being a babyface? It's not going to be a wrestler. It's going to be the fans.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if Superman turned into a bad guy, it's the little kid that, starts crying and is like, Superman, why are you being not Superman? And at the end of the day, this is his farewell tour. We're not going to see him in a ring wrestling, after the end of the year. So here's the thing about Cena. He's spent the last, I don't know how many years, acting. I think he's going to act the shit out of this. I love it. We're going to get little hints of him being emotional. Like the fact that that they were chanting to thank you, Cena, and it got to him just a little bit. He didn't give it too much, just when he sat there on the outside of the ring looking at the belt. But then when he walked out of the arena, he was still full heel mode. He didn't do anything that was babyface. So I don't know. I really like it. I love the fact that it's going to be about him and his relationship with the fans, because honestly, there's never been another wrestler in history that's had such a complicated relationship with fans, except for maybe The Rock. But Cena for years, and we've heard it, he was cheered by the kids and jeered by the marks. So, and we still hear those cheers, the John Cena, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. And it goes back and forth like that. And at the end of the day, even the marks are going to say, thank you, because it's coming to an end. And that's what's going to turn him eventually. It's going to be like a moment of, we're going to see a moment where he's going to go do a heel move. And it's just going to be a slow burn. I don't want this all of a sudden next month he's going to be a baby face. I want the redemption at the end. And then he rides off into the sunset. I don't need a babyface run as champion. I want him to be heel all the way through the year. And then right at the end, before he dies, it's the Vader. It's the Darth Vader angle. I want the Vader angle.
Yeah.
I want Vader. It's the, I turn heel, turn villain. And right at the end of the day, he redeems himself. And that's and then he rides off into the sunset. I want the Vader angle. And I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be phenomenal. And I'm going to enjoy watching it. And that match was awesome.
Yes.
I was a little weird. I was a little worried that I'm like, all right, how good of a match can these two? So when they used to go back at it, it was Super Cena. And don't get me wrong, it was a lot of like false finishes and everything, but they did such a great job of at least sucking you in story-wise that it worked. Because I'm kind of, you've seen like Undertaker and other like wrestlers and commentators talk about how the finisher isn't a finisher anymore. It takes 17 off. They did a great job of pulling you in story-wise with it. Because there was that crowd that wanted Orton to win, and then there was that crowd that it was done very well. So I love this going forward. It's the first time ever that I've loved Cena. But I'm a heel guy.
Yeah.
And I want to see, again, heels are more interesting. This is so interesting. I love this. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to hear more. What are your thoughts? What did you think?
I think, man, number one, that match was hell. That match was good as hell.
Yes.
Look, like I said, because I was like you said, and I hate to steal your thunder a little bit. I was used to seeing Super Cena against Randy Orton, but to see, and especially to see the roles reversed. Remember when Roddy Piper first went to WCW, and then you saw Hollywood Hogan, and how he became the bad guy and Piper was the heel. It was similar to that. Because remember at first, because we're so used to seeing the roles reversed, we were so used to seeing Piper as the heel and Hogan as the babyface. Now we saw those roles reversed, and especially with heel Cena and babyface Orton, it was so different. It's like, and I'm glad that although he was a babyface in this, he pulled out all the stops that being Randy Orton, because he was trying to go for the punt and everything. He was trying to go for the punt and everything. So I'm glad he pulled out all of his bag of tricks in order to try to win the title. Although he was a babyface, he's like, I'm going to do everything I can to try to win in St. Louis. So I think that was a banger of a match. And like you said, the finisher is not a finisher anymore. I didn't really think it was going to win in one finisher, especially in the main event. But that was one hell of a match. I want to see this slow burn to the very end.
Yeah.
To the very end. I don't know who is it going to be to have that last one with him. But I want to see this slow burn to the very, very end. I do not want to see him turn babyface too soon. I don't want to see it too soon. I want it to be in a situation, just like you said, it's like the Darth Vader moment. I'm supposed to do something heelish, but I'm going to turn back to true form. I know I'm supposed to be a Jedi dark side, but I'm going to do something that's true to my form. This is really not me. I just sold out for the title. I just sold out for the money. I sold out to be the headline, to have my run. But at the very, very last minute, I'm going to prove to you why you liked me for so many years.
What? Okay. What if they actually do it? What if they actually are doing the Darth Vader angle?
If they are, it's going to be interesting to see who he does it against.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now who's Emperor Palpatine in this situation right now.
The Rock. So The Rock.
I'm telling you, I think BRF was right when he called that was going to be Cena's last match, and Cena would go up, because you could do a thing where there's a slow burn, and Cena starts to pull babyface. He starts to pull to the light side, and Rock either somehow, like, it ends up in the Rock challenge him to the match at a Royal Rumble, because then then you could do the full arc, and let's say it's like Rock and Cody at WrestleMania, or Rock and Roman at WrestleMania, and then he's not wrestling, but then you have the full redemption angle at next year's WrestleMania, and he comes in and he helps either Cody or Roman beat The Rock, throw Palpatine over the side of the rail and end it. I think that would be a really cool way to go. I think it's the Vader angle. That's what I'm hoping for. But I want the slow burn. We're only in May. I want this to go all the way through December.
Yeah, all the way through SummerSlam, hit Survivor Series and everything. Yeah. And I especially need you to be a Survivor Series, because everybody. I don't think this generation understands what Survivor Series is. Survivor Series used to be named the Deadly Game.
Yeah,
it used to be named the Deadly Game. So I hope it goes through Survivor Series as well. Let's go to the comments. Do you think we can see? I don't think so. PSP. Shout out to Sports PSP. Over 105,000 subscribers on YouTube. Man, go and like and subscribe to that hell of a podcast. Oh man, but you know what? We've been waiting on the arrival of somebody, and they're finally here. BRF is in the building.
Damn last minute errands.
It happens, dude.
But anyways, nah, man. How y'all fella doing tonight?
I'm good, man. I mean, look, it's like, hey, look, we've been the tag team champions have been fighting, man. We've been awaiting now. It's kind of like the Freebirds awaiting the arrival of Terry Gordy at a certain point. You're our Terry Gordy. We've been waiting for you to run in.
Hold on, what's happened?
So, what you mean?
Oh, I didn't know if I had missed something on Raw so far.
No. We've been waiting on our Terry Gordy. We're the Freebirds, and we'll be waiting on our Terry Gordy to fly in. So yeah.
I got to come in and get that Freebird rule kicking in. Oh, I got you. Yeah. I got you.
I got to get the Freebird rule. So man, look, I'm gonna go back to you with this question, man. Number one, we missed you with the Sabu tribute. So what do you think is Sabu's legacy?
We talk about AJ Styles and how he was like very much an offensive innovator as far as like just his technical wrestling, his moves, his high flying and all that in the ring. Well, Sabu was like an offensive innovator on like the complete opposite end of the spectrum as far as like the hardcore matches and like the triple jump moonsault and the leg drop with the steel chair, and just like he was a different style of innovator. Like his offense, like being one of the ECW originals, and just from the time he was introduced, and like if y'all haven't seen the clip of the Sabu debut, you should, because it's one of the coolest things you'll ever see. When he debuted back in, I believe, '96, basically what it was it was an angle, like Taz wasn't Taz yet. He was just a Taz maniac. He wasn't Taz yet. So they wheeled Sabu like on this kind of like gurney, but he was strapped with a chain and had the Hannibal Lecter mask on his face. Almost kind of like the uncontrollable, suicidal, homicidal, genocidal, death-defying, like his nickname kind of, lived up to. And it's like from that point forward, it's just been like he had some ridiculous rivalries, whether it was Taz, whether it was RVD, whether it was him and RVD as one of the most dysfunctional yet greatest tag teams in the history of ECW. And his TNA run is slept on. Like the barbed wire massacre match he had with Abyss, the Monsters Ball match he had with the Abyss and Jeff Hardy and Rhino. Just he's one of those we recognize as a hardcore icon for a reason. Like his innovation. He had a different style of innovation. Like it knew no bounds. Like it knew there was no limits with Sabu. And just all the punishment that he's taken over his career, like like his rivalry with Terry Funk is like one of the greatest rivalries, regardless of organization in the history of wrestling. Like that barbed wire match that they had for the ECW World Title to this day is still one of the most infamous matches in all of wrestling. Like the things they did to each other in that match was just ridiculous. That's the match where he literally ripped his bicep open. Literally ripped his bicep open. And the Psycho gets tape, like literal athletic tape, tapes it up and finishes the match. Dude literally wraps barbed wire around his midsection to give Terry Funk a leg drop outside the ring through a table. I mean, his legacy is just one of just violence and chaos. But like I said, it's a different style of innovation that he kind of helps up the bar as far as like a lot of the hardcore stuff you see today. So and he's influenced like so many of the wrestlers today, particularly like the deathmatch workers. Like he's just influenced so many of them. And when I saw the news that he had died, it kind of took me back, because I saw clips of the match he had with Joey Janela in GCW, like his last match. And even though he was nowhere near the athlete he was like 10, 15 years ago, but just the heart and the passion that you saw that he still had for the sport. I mean, it's one of those things that you just can't deny, and you have to admire that and respect that. So prayers and condolences to him, his friends, his family, his confidants, his peers, just everybody that was around him. They're in the ECW days, like that era of ECW, that generation, like whether it's him and RVD or Taz or Tommy Dreamer, the Dudley Boys, Candido, Lance Storm, Just Incredible, Balls Mahoney, just to name a few. Like that era is just one of those that are just going to live on in the annals of wrestling. And I really can appreciate the fact that era and that generation of wrestling is getting its flowers, because regardless of what people may say, that ECW made WWF at the time. It made them step up. I mean, regardless of what people may think, ECW made WWF step up. It forced them to be a little edgier in their TV, a little edgier in their storylines, a little edgier in their wrestling and their violence that they showed and portrayed on whether it was a free TV or whether it was a pay-per-view. ECW forced WWF and WCW to really step up, because they were a true legit third brand. And just for that little while, and they were an awesome alternative too. So and Sabu being like the forefront of that, like just prayers and condolences, man. I was shocked. I was shocked to hear. And it was like, it's sad. It's a sad time in wrestling right now, losing a guy like a Sabu who gave so much to the business, who gave his body, who gave his soul. The dude like is scarred beyond belief, but he still loved this business. And just shout out to him. And he's definitely going to be missed. And just thank you to Sabu for just all his contributions and everything he brought to the sport. And his legacy is one I'm glad we were giving him flowers, and we just I hated he's gone now, but we have to continue to give that man his flowers, because without him, a lot of the things you see today would not be here if not for a guy like Sabu. So definitely prayers and condolences to his family and his friends and everybody from that time in ECW. In my opinion, one of the most underrated periods in the history of wrestling. That 96 to 2000 run of ECW is like, it wasn't made for everybody, but that's how they intended it, and that's why the wrestling fans like myself love that era so much. So shout out to them, and prayers and condolences to his family.
Hey, like I stated earlier before you was able to join us on the show, ECW was equivalent to what underground grunge and hip hop was, and those ECW guys were the underground rappers and underground grunge guys that we love. Yeah, that's everybody knows the top-notch guys. Everybody knows your Nirvanas. Everybody knows your Smashing Pumpkins. Everybody knows your LL Cool J. But if you really, really know hip-hop, do you know Tech Nine? Do you know Spice One? Some of those guys like that, Richie Rich, a lot of those guys. So
Sugar Free.
Yeah, Sugar Free. Hey, man, you got to love the pimp. You got to love the pimp, man. I'll be on my way. So that's what I equivalent ECW to. It was the underground version of great wrestling that we all loved. And like I said, it's equivalent to what underground hip hop and grunge was. If you are a true wrestling fan, you knew who they were. And especially when those ECW days were nothing but true. It's true theater. It was true theater. And ironically, look, I'm gonna just say it. You can't have the Attitude Era without ECW. Why?
Nope.
All their stars came from, because every single, with the exception of The Undertaker and Triple H, all those guys came from ECW. All those guys came from ECW. Stone Cold, ECW. Mankind, ECW. Sid Vicious, ECW. So Bam Bam Bigelow, ECW. Shane Douglas, ECW.
Hey, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, all of them were
Psychosis, Dean Malenko. They're all ECW bred. ECW put the cruiserweight division on the map before the WCW stole it. I mean, let's keep it a buck.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So there's no Attitude Era without ECW.
You want to go watch some and everybody thinks it's only hardcore stuff. Go watch some Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero matches and Rey Mysterio matches from ECW, or go watch Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam. I got to see that live in Milwaukee at the Eagles Ballroom. That, an ECW pay-per-view or live event back in the day when they were at its peak was
theater.
One of my favorite. No, go ahead, Flash.
It is. I got beer poured down my throat by the Sandman during his entrance. I had New Jack fly over my head over a balcony. I'm telling you, it's like if you took, it was like a mosh pit of, I don't even know how to. It was like a rock concert and a rap. It's like a rock concert, a rap concert had a baby, and it was a wrestling event with a mosh pit. That was it. I don't even know. It was out of control. I mean, you want to talk about I bring this up, how people are so offended now. Go watch some old Dudley Boy promos from when they were in ECW.
Heatwave 96.
When I say that they started riots, I'm not joking. They are also ECW original and icon. The promos that Bubba Ray used to
that was nasty.
You want to go that dude. Yeah. So old school ECW was fantastic, and if you were a teenage boy or late teens at that time,
they had the eye candy for you back then.
And the eye candy and the Francine and Dawn Marie, Beulah McGillicuddy. I mean, if the anti-establishment and the whole, I mean, it was you had grunge, you had hip hop. It was just perfect if you were a teenage kid, especially a teenage kid.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite matches, like we were talking about, all the guys, all the real technical guys they had in ECW. Two of my favorite matches were RVD Jerry Lynn matches, Hardcore Heaven, Living Dangerously. If y'all have not seen those two matches, y'all need to get on the YouTube ASAP.
Yeah,
those matches were so good.
Yes.
Now, the one thing that I remember, and then I'm going to go to PSP's question in the comments because I have to ask this question before we move forward. Remember when Raven had to come out and apologize to the crowd because one of the guys had a crucifix in the middle of the ring? I'll never forget that. And Kurt Angle was actually doing that taping. He actually threatened to sue Paul Heyman if he let there appear on TV because it was a taping. So that when you talk about getting offended, I don't think look, back then you could get away with a lot of stuff. In fact, speaking of PSP, we was just talking about New Jack a couple of weeks ago on the Sports PSP podcast. So how the Smoky Mountain promo. So I want to spend a shout out to my homeboy OJ Simpson. That was just epical proportions. And so you can't, like I said, if you mixed up grunge and hip hop and all the underground music together and put it in a wrestling show, that was ECW. Like I said, it was like true underground artists. And if you knew, you knew. And if you didn't know, you was missing out. I mean, you were really missing out. So look, let's go to PSP's question. As you said, the Attitude Era wouldn't have been without the great Paul Heyman. No, it wouldn't have. Because if you really want to be honest with you, the Attitude Era on both sides, whether NWO or WWE, all of that came from ECW. That was the Attitude Era originally came from the ECW. So I never forget the first. Remember the Shane Douglas promo? Remember the Shane Douglas promo?
Oh yeah,
I didn't.
The one where he threw the belt down.
Yeah, no one passed me a torch. I took it from you. So I mean, and what's so ashamed about a lot of the ECW wrestlers? I mean, it was kind of like BRF. You remember Jay Mills from New York? I think he's from New York or Philadelphia. You know, Jay Mills. Yeah, a lot of those guys, they were purely mixtape guys because they would get buried everywhere else they go. It's like Shane Douglas, although he was good at WCW, he got buried in the WWE. Jerry Flynn, although he was good at ECW, he got buried in WCW. It's just a shame what happened to some of those guys.
And it's a shame too with Shane Douglas because he had all the tools. He was a good wrestler. I mean, promo. I mean, he was good on the mic. I mean, he had all the tools. So it's a shame that when he finally got a shot in WCW, like he really didn't do anything. Because I mean, he won the Intercontinental title in the WWF. I mean, it was a different gimmick, but I mean, he won the Intercontinental title. I mean, WWE, WWF really kind of tried to push him a little bit, and WCW just never like. I don't know. I don't know.
Guys, like you look at somebody like Lance Storm. Lance Storm was phenomenal in ECW, and everywhere else he was just a dud. Like, and I don't think Vince knew. Where did you put it? I don't think Vince knew how to book anybody like in that era.
If I could be serious for a minute.
I think what killed Lance Storm in WWE was that match he was having, and then Stone Cold came out in the middle of it. Boring. Yeah. That's what killed him. Killed him.
And that was they buried him. Like look at. I mean, even Jerry Lynn had a small run in WWF or WWE at the time for a hot minute, and he. Like, if you're telling me that Jerry Lynn can't get over, like something's wrong, the booking's wrong. Like, I just don't. I don't think Vince, unless he could really make money off of you in a mainstream way, he just didn't have. I don't think he could book certain guys. It's like if you look at some, like who would have been perfect in ECW, Shinsuke Nakamura.
Ooh.
If you look at which is why NXT is like it's that kind of grungy NXT. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's very glamorized now, but like it's got that bar feel to it, like that that underground feel to it. At least it did a little while ago. But Shinsuke Nakamura would have been perfect in ECW. Like he would have been one of their top stars. And I would have loved to have seen him there. It would have been beautiful. Or Asuka. Can you imagine Asuka?
Yes.
ECW. Oh my God. That's a big what if. It just.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine those matches in ECW? It would have been like her and like Prime Jazz. Oh my God.
I know.
I'm just gonna be honest before I put this question about PSP on the board. I really think that Vince, every time he saw a big star from another company, with the exception of a few guys that he knew he made, like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, and and maybe even a couple of other guys. If you really, really think about it, anytime he saw a big star from those other companies, he really buried him. Think about Taz and how
they take me off. How they did Taz in WWF. They take me off.
Think about Taz. I mean, can you imagine Taz in the Ruthless Aggression era? But he got buried before he could really even make a run at it.
And then injuries never helped, and then the injuries didn't help either. But Vince did not like self-made dudes. He did not like like self-made dudes. He did not like guys that were already big names before they got to WWE. He didn't like that. That's why, honestly, I'm still shocked at the career that AJ Styles has been able to pull in WWE because Vince did not like self-made dudes.
Well, but see, Taz, I honestly, I think Taz, look, we've all known Vince likes big guys. And Taz, how do you, the problem is Vince always looked at somebody like Taz and was like, how can I push this guy against, which is sad. You go watch his debut against Angle, like when he first debuted, it's one of the coolest debuts ever. And he was so over. And just, but sometimes, dude, it's weird because like I look at somebody like Chad Gable right now. If Chad Gable was 3 inches taller, he'd be a star.
Chad Gable would already have had World Heavyweight Championship matches.
Yes. And he's just too short. He just is. Sometimes you're just too small. And I think Taz, I think Vince did him dirty, but I also think that I think the problem with Vince was the size. I think that it's the size thing.
But the only thing was that he was 5'10". Dude, he was billed at 248. He was 5'10".
I know. I don't think it's weird too because he had Ray go on a heavyweight title run.
Yeah, and he had Chris Benoit and Eddie go up on the title.
I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was I don't know because I remember. I will say at least we got one of the best Paul Heyman promos out of it.
Oh yeah, we did. Yes, we did. The SmackDown before Survivor Series.
Yeah, when Taz was doing commentary and Paul Heyman basically was like, you turned Taz into just. I can't remember exactly what he said, but it was.
He said he turned him into a color commentator, and he's not even a good one.
Yeah. And he wasn't a good one. It was just weird. I don't know. It was just an odd, that whole era where Vince bought out everything and the guys that he was, it's why I will say this. Look, I know Vince gets a lot of flack, but there's been a lot of like talk about how he buried guys and didn't like, you know what? Booker T made a shit ton of money in WWE. There were a lot of guys that made a lot of money that weren't WWE guys. And I think I don't know. I think there's a little bit of revisionist history when we look back and we just go, man, how could that guy not have, not saying Vince was perfect, but I am saying that like Vince knew what he was doing. Like,
in my humble opinion, you had to be ultra talented to go to the point where couldn't nobody ignore you.
Exactly.
To come from another company and get over in the WWE because
Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho, etc. The guys like that.
Yeah, you couldn't ignore Chris Jericho. You couldn't ignore Chris Benoit. Unfortunately, due to everything that happened, you really don't recognize him as much. But you couldn't ignore Eddie Guerrero.
No.
You couldn't ignore guys like that. You just couldn't ignore.
No.
You couldn't ignore Kevin Nash. You couldn't ignore Scott Hall. You couldn't ignore Mr. Perfect. You couldn't ignore those guys. So you had to be, if you were not a Vince creation and you went to WWE, you had to be
lose them
in order to get over in WCW. Ironically, one of the most overest guys in the Intercontinental division, he was from the AWA. He was the AWA champion and ravishing Rick Rude. He was made in another promotion before he finally came to the WWE. So yeah, you had to be ultra talented to the point where nobody could ignore you. Even when you saw Kerry Von Erich, even when he came to the WWE, you remember, he had heavyweight championship potential. But guess what? You know, due to that accident that he had, not to mention, you know, him being on the dark side of his career, he didn't get the push that he really deserved, although he won the Intercontinental title.
Look at Dusty Rhodes. There's a lot of theories that Vince just made him like try to be like he put him in polka dots just to basically show him who was boss. And to Dusty's credit, he still got over. But I think you're right. I think Taz. Here's the other thing too. Like I kind of look at it from an angle of Taz's offense was all suplexes for the most part. So when you get into a ring, like don't get me wrong, I would have loved to have seen a Shawn Michaels versus Taz match.
Yes.
You know, Shawn versus anybody is a phenomenal match. Like Shawn, but Taz versus if he gets to go against guys like Benoit and Eddie and stuff like that, then he's going to have a great career. But I don't think Vince trusted that he could sell his offense at a heavyweight level. I just like if he would allowed him to have feuds with, like I said, Eddie and Benoit. I mean, Taz and Triple H. Ooh,
could you imagine Pete Taz versus young Brock Lesnar?
That's the thing. Is he big enough to put in a ring with someone like Lesnar?
Bro, Taz is uber strong. Taz is throwing Brock Lesnar. Taz is uber strong. Bro, he suplexed Bam Bam Bigelow. How is he not picking up Brock?
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate here, but you're right.
I feel what you're saying, but I don't think you can because he picked up bigger guys in ECW way too many times to not sell me offense on Brock Lesnar. He did it way too many times.
Then I don't know. I don't know what it was then. I don't. It's one of those things that maybe we'll never get. We'll never understand. Maybe it was the injuries. That's the one thing.
I think it's partly the injuries. I think it's partly the injuries too.
Because that's one thing that Vince can't stand is if you can't stay healthy.
Like the best ability is availability.
Look at Finn Balor. Vince gave him a shot. He got hurt right away, and Finn has never been the same since.
But it wasn't his fault though, Seth. Seth did the buckle bomb wrong outside the ring.
I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying that it just didn't. And Finn. And that's the thing, like, yeah, he can tolerate injuries if you're Michaels or Austin.
Even Edge.
But yeah, or someone like that. But like those guys were nowhere near on that level. So it's like and Finn Balor to a certain extent wasn't a WWE made guy.
No.
So it's like and look, Vince has his guys, just like Triple H does. Triple H has his guys, has his thing. Like I'm still wondering why Pete Dunne is like walking out to a wrestling ring in WWE. Like I don't like he's like I'm not gonna make that joke, but he just he just I don't get it. Like they try to keep and he's a Triple H guy. They keep trying to push him and get him over, and everybody's just like, "No, we don't want this. Go away." I don't know. So I think Vince had his guys, and I think Vince, to his credit and to his detriment, it was good and bad. So,
real quick. I know this is not a real quick question, but real quick. Who's the greatest ECW wrestler? I'm going to go first. Taz. To me, it was Taz. He was not
like PSP. Are you asking greatest wrestler or like icon? Like when you think of ECW, like is that what you're asking? Because if you take Paul Heyman out of the equation, if it's like when you think of ECW, who do you think of? Then it's Tommy Dreamer.
Fair.
Either Sandman.
Taz.
Not
I say Taz. I say real quick.
Sandman. For me, it's the Sandman.
I think it's Tommy Dreamer. I think it's I think it's like he was their babyface. Like that was their like. No, you're wrong. There are guys like you can make an argument for Rob Van Dam too. Like his lasting power. He was the one that lasted the longest. When it came to like, so you could say Rob Van Dam too.
He's the most talented they've ever had by far.
Oh yeah, but I think out of the, I don't know. I gotta go with Dreamer. He had some of the best. He had some of the best storylines. He was their John Cena, for lack of a better term. He was, he had
the lovable loser.
Yeah, he was
the lovable.
Honestly, he was kind of like a really good guy, Kevin Owens. Like just kind of showed up in a t-shirt and a pair of, Adidas pants and just, kicked some ass. And he had the hot girlfriend. So, and he had his moments. Like he had that, the whole like, well, if I can't have one of them, I can have them both, and just makes out with Francine and Beulah right in the middle of the ring. Like he just his whole thing with Raven. Oh,
that was nasty.
Yeah. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Like if you said RVD, I'd say yeah. If you say Taz, I say yeah. If you say Dreamer, I say yeah. I don't think there's a wrong one. I mean, because of RVD's longevity and he carried that ECW brand with him, even when he was going and making it big in WWE. You can argue our RVD. I don't know. I love that it's multiple answers. I like that there's no good answer.
No, is no indeed not, man. But good question from PSP, man. Thank you for always being a part of the podcast, man. I really appreciate it. Quick question before we go going back to you, BRF, because we already gave our answer. Is John Cena starting to regret selling out, and will we see babyface Cena again soon? You have the floor, BRF.
We knew babyface Cena is going to end this run, but I know me and Flash had talked about a little bit. Where the fan he's of the view that the fans are ultimately going to be the main thing that turn him, and I agree to a point. I still think each title defense is going to strip a little bit away. I do, but it started with Randy Orton, because even though the fans were saying thank you Cena and all that stuff, I think part of it kind of hit him like he's not going to get this again. Randy Orton's his greatest rival, and he's never going to get this again. So I think that was part of it too. I think each defense is going to strip a little bit. And it's going to be the fans too. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be the fans too, because the fans are going to continue to just cheer him and give him his flowers and all that other stuff. So I think it's really going to be like a combination of the two, where it's going to be the fans showing their appreciation for him. But also, I've said, this run is going to be a greatest hits run. It's going to be a greatest hits run. I don't think there's going to be like I don't think you're going to see too many like up and coming young guys getting a shot at Cena. This is going to be greatest hits. Like you're going to get the CM Punk match at some point. I think you should get the AJ Styles match at some point. I think it's going to be greatest hits. I really legit think it's going to be his greatest hits. Like I see like CM Punk needs to be either Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. One of those two. It's probably going to be SummerSlam for the draw, but I would be perfectly fine if it's Money in the Bank because of that match they had back in 2011. I mean, even though I'm not really worried about Dave Meltzer, but I mean, the fact that was a WWE match and it got 5 stars. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like a full circle moment. But yeah, I don't think it's, as far as regret, I think it hit a little bit, but there's still that aura of just like that kind of heel, like he still feels kind of invincible. But I think each defense, especially like against the big names, like the greatest hits, is going to kind of strip away from him a little bit, to the point where it's finally like, I don't know which match is going to be, but it's going to be that one match where it's ultimately just kind of just is going to be the end all be all and kind of bring him back to the bright side. So, but yeah, we will definitely get babyface Cena before this runs out. And I don't think it's going to be a long run when he turns back, but we're going to get it before the end of this run.
I think, and it was kind of playing out in my head as we were talking about it earlier. I think this is a Darth Vader angle, and I love your idea that his last match is The Rock, and I think he has his redemption with Emperor Palpatine, and honestly, it works perfectly because if you really look at the Star Wars, the original trilogy, Palpatine was just the puppet in the background. You barely saw him until basically the second movie, until like later in the second movie. And then you really see him in the third film. So honestly, if they do a Vader angle where like his redemption, because my idea was somehow he starts to slowly turn babyface because of the fans, and The Rock, for some odd reason, turns on him and says, I challenge you to a match. And that's his last match at the Royal Rumble or whenever they're in the last match at this year is in December.
I think his dad's already said his last match is going to be TD Garden. So
okay, so that's the last match. Have The Rock, if let's say The Rock's last match, The Rock goes over on him, okay, and we get the farewell Cena thing, which leads up to now you can have Rock versus Cody or Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania. And it doesn't say it's over if that Cena's wrestling. But then you have the full circle redemption where he comes out and he helps Cody or he helps Roman at WrestleMania. Just to turn the tide, and then that's his final walk-off. It's the throwing Palpatine over the railing to save his son, to save Luke, which would, in my opinion, it would probably be Cody. But yeah, that's if they do that angle, if they do the Vader angle with him and Rock, ooh.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. I like it. I like it.
I want to give you credit for that though, because like you said Rock was going to be his last match, and I didn't like it at first, and then the more and more I think about it,
the more you thought about it, the more it makes sense.
Yep. Yes, it does. It absolutely makes sense. It does, and in fact, it doesn't even make sense for it to be anybody else, because the only other person that I would have said would have been Orton. And we
just got that out. But we just got that out of the way because Backlash was in St. Louis, and honestly, that made them. And honestly, Orton being the first one to me made sense. And particularly with Backlash being in St. Louis, you could not have any other opponent in that situation but him.
True. The only other person that I could maybe see his last match, if you really wanted to put a baby face over him, would be Punk. And you don't do it at Money in the Bank. That'd be the only person.
Yeah, I could see that too, but I still think Punk's either going to be Money in the Bank or SummerSlam.
I think so too.
Hey, so real quick before we change gears and hit the NBA, who should Cena's next feud be with?
I'm calling it right now. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. Y'all might think I'm a little crazy for this. Saturday night's main event, if he really wants to do it, don't be shocked if it's R-Truth. Don't be shocked if R-Truth is his Saturday night's main event match. Just don't. I'm just throwing it out there. Just don't be surprised. If it's not Saturday night's main event, don't be shocked if R-Truth is the Money in the Bank match and they save CM Punk for SummerSlam. Just don't be surprised. Just don't be surprised.
Flash.
It'd be a really good way because everybody loves R-Truth. So it would be the only way you get heel Cena is you put him in positions where you have to boo him because everybody loves R-Truth.
Yes, because the heel turn, even though it's going good, it doesn't feel fully solidified and you have to fully solidify it. And what better way to fully solidify it than have him beat the daylights out of R-Truth?
Yeah. If it's not R-Truth.
If it's not R-Truth, I think they're going to go square. They're going to go straight in the Punk. That's how I feel.
But he's a babyface right now.
Well, and I think they go straight in the Punk if it's not Truth. I think they go straight to him.
I think the problem right now is that I think Punk is too. I mean, they just are watching Raw. Punk is all about Heyman and Seth. That's his story right now.
Which is why I think the Money in the Bank match, I think it might be Cena and Punk at SummerSlam, because I'm hoping with this angle, Money in the Bank, we get Seth and Braun versus Punk and Roman.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's going to be interesting.
I think Cody and Roman are going to be off TV for a while, which I like. I hope.
I agree. I hope so too.
I hope they're off for a while, because I'm still maintaining that I felt like they brought Roman back way too quick last year when they brought him back at SummerSlam. Now, don't get me wrong, I was there live, so it was awesome. But still, I still felt like I think they needed to. I don't know. I think they needed to leave him off for a while. But anyways, I don't think it's going to be Punk, unless Punk gets the shot, and then Seth and Heyman cost him the title. Who else would it be?
I don't know who else it could be at this point. I mean,
can't say Braun Breaker.
I've already said during this run, we better get one John Cena AJ Styles match. I've already said it. We better get one.
I don't know.
You can't do a greatest hits run without AJ Styles. You can't do it. And that's what I think this run is going to be. It's going to be greatest hits. You can't do it without AJ.
You can't.
I don't think you can. You can't, because you look at that trilogy they had back in, what was it, 2016, 2015, 16, 17 run or whatever. The Money in the Bank match, and then the SummerSlam match, and then the 2016. So you get Money in the Bank 2016, and then you get SummerSlam, and then Royal Rumble, which is like, dude, John Cena, AJ Styles at SummerSlam and Royal Rumble are two of the greatest matches I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. So I feel like AJ Styles has to come into this equation if this is a Cena's greatest hit. AJ Styles has to come into this equation at some point eventually. He has to.
Anything you want to add, Flash?
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Yeah, unless it's Roman, but we're too far away from SummerSlam.
Yeah. Let's switch gears. Go ahead.
Any chance? I know we keep bringing his name up, and I'm starting to think that he's done. Is there any chance that Brock comes back?
No, I think he's done. I think he's done.
I think he's done too. I think
he's done. Their
PSP literally just asked it.
Their one shot, in my opinion, would have been this year's Royal Rumble. When he didn't come back then, I'm like, yeah, he's done.
I think he's done too. I think he's off on his ranch being a dad. And
exactly.
And that's okay. I have, and it would have been great. And on top of you have the Heyman thing going. You had although, like I said, that's one of Cena's. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think. I think he's done. I think he's done.
I think that ship sailed too.
I hope I'm wrong. I just don't see now like, what do you bring him back for? And honestly, right now, Gunther is he's not.
I think Gunther's the only match you bring Brock Lesnar back for at this point, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
And honestly,
but I don't think Gunther's status right now is worthy of that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has to build himself back up if you want me to be honest with you.
Yeah, like I just like kind of like he's lost his luster. Like I know they're trying real hard right now. Like he's out right now with Jay, and it's just like I know they tried it with the Pat McAfee thing, but I don't know. Something feels off with his character, and I don't know what it is. And I know they're trying desperately right now because I mean the name that they keep throwing around, you keep hearing is Goldberg, which I really don't want to see.
I don't want to see it either. It just wouldn't shock me if it happened.
No, I mean either.
John Cena, you're next.
If there's one match I want to see less than Gunther Goldberg, it's definitely John Cena Goldberg.
Yeah.
The cow. But let's switch gears ahead to the NBA. I got to ask you guys this question. We just saw the draft lottery. We saw the Dallas Mavericks get the number 1 overall pick. But I got to ask y'all this. No, Dallas Mavericks got the number 1 overall pick.
Oh, shoot, they did. I thought Utah got it.
No, indeed not.
San Antonio too.
And San Antonio.
Okay.
So
tell me that doesn't smell like trout.
I don't know. I mean, Dallas has had, look, like I said in the video I just posted on TikTok right before we went on the air, Dallas has had a very, very big, some big, huge bangers when it came to the draft. The Dallas Cowboys had a hell of a draft. I mean, Paige Beckers went to the Dallas Wings, got the number 1 overall pick right after they lost one of their franchise players to the Mercury. I forget how to say her name, but Paige Beckers
Satu Tabali.
Yeah, after they lost, because I was hoping that she would stay. Because can you imagine Paige Beckers, her and Agumbawale and Dejanay Carrington all in one team?
Jesus Christ.
That's what it would have been. But, yeah.
Something smells funny.
Yeah, but look.
They had a 1.8% chance of winning the top pick. I'm going to tell you right now, I think the whole reason, this is going to be this is a massive conspiracy theory.
Uh-oh.
I think the whole reason the NBA came up with the draft lottery was so they could rig it. Because you can't rig it if it's just based on record.
And now the Dallas Mavericks, you almost know for certain they're locked in on Cooper Flag, and now they have their star if they want to take the team out of Dallas.
Just saying, or even keep. I mean, here's the other conspiracy theory. We've all wondered why it's not even that Luka was traded; it's the fact that he was traded for like a bag of chips.
Outside of Anthony Davis, like a couple of hot dogs, a soda, like you said, a big bag of chips, yeah.
Yes.
So
if the ratings are down, what if Nick's still, hey Nico, dude, I hear that Luka's a little fat, drinking too much beer. What if you traded him to the Lakers, but I give you the 1st overall draft pick? I don't know, dude. The NBA has always had questionable things about it. And as a Bucks fan watching that 0-1 Eastern Conference Finals, and I think everybody universally agrees that was one of the most rigged final 2 games ever. I don't know, man. Something just smells funny. It just and I'm kind of disappointed. I said this before we went on air, before you got. I'm disappointed it wasn't San Antonio because I would have loved to have seen Cooper Flag, Wemby, and the other kid that they got, the rookie of the year.
Castle.
Dude, that would have been on the level of like Durant, Harden, and Westbrook. But
damn, that's right. They do have De'Aaron Fox too. Oh my god.
Yeah. I am disappointed that San Antonio missed out. That's what I wanted. If Flag is going to go anywhere, I want to see San Antonio just to see that for that 14. Dude.
But if that would have happened, people would have really been calling it rigged.
Probably.
How does San Antonio keep getting lucky? It's whatever.
Dallas thing kind of that's even, I don't know.
Exactly. I feel like the Dallas thing is worse, especially with how they've been getting flamed and roasted since the Luka trade, and tend to all of a sudden get this one light of good luck to hit just out of the blue, coincidentally the draft lottery. Like
I said, smells like trout.
Look, like I said, Dallas has been getting lucky in the sports world all year long. They got lucky in the draft with Jerryjones and the Dallas Cowboys. They got lucky with Paige Beckers, and they got drafted because they was able to get her number 1 overall in the WNBA draft. So outside of the Luka trade, it's been a big year for Dallas. They've been dominating the headlines, good or bad. They've been dominating the headlines. So which leads me to my next question: is this Dallas wins the draft? Is this redemption for the Luka trade?
In its own rigged way, I guess.
I don't know if it's redemption, but let's take the conspiracy theories out of it. I don't think Cooper Flag as a prospect is anywhere near Luka. And I'm talking about Luka at draft time. I'm not talking about Luka at now. Now, don't get me wrong. There were questions about Luka because he came from Europe, yada, 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 blah, 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 blah. And he was extremely young, what was his competition, et cetera, yada, yada. But I think we all can agree that on a level, Cooper Flag is not the prospect that Luka is or was. But I think the redemption is if Luka, if his health is poor in LA and Cooper Flag turns out to be a star, and basically the reason why they traded him was because of his health choices, then there's the redemption. But if Luka's a star in LA and he keeps, whatever, then I don't think there is any redemption.
BRL?
Pretty much echo those sentiments. This redemption only plays out if the reasoning behind the Luka trade is validated as far as his health in LA. I think the only way to get redemption on this is if Luka validates the reasoning why they traded him. I think that's the only way to get redemption in this. I agree with Flash.
Hey, let's piggyback on to the first question. Was this the most important draft lottery since 2003, considering that all of the heavy hitters are on their way out of the league? The Kevin Durant's are on their way out. LeBron James, arguably the biggest star since Michael Jordan's on his way out. Is this one of the most important? Because this draft has something that a lot of other drafts didn't have. They have the big names, even outside of Cooper Flag. So it's just one of the most important drafts since 2003, I would say.
I guess when you look at the names as far as who's going to be available, I don't think it's just this class. I don't think it's just this one. I think it's really the next couple as far as trying to find those new faces that can ultimately replace Braun, Steph, and KD. I don't think it's just this one. I think it's really the next 2 to 3. And then you still have to take into account the young guys that are in the league now, like the Anthony Edwards, the SGAs, the Tatum, the guys like that. I think this era period it's definitely this era period. I think I'll say really the next couple are like going to be really important to hope to maybe finding that next all timer. I don't think it's just this one. I think it's really the next 2 or 3.
Flash.
I don't know about the most important. I kind of agree with BRF. I don't think it's just this draft. Because right now, let's say LeBron, KD, and Steph retire tomorrow. Who's the face of the league?
Ooh,
we don't have one.
We really don't have one. I mean, there are names you could throw in the discussion, but none of them's definitive.
I don't really think that the NBA is really sold on Jason Tatum at this point either, even though he's in Boston. He has all the tools in order to be. You play for the most recognizable team, arguably, in the league, in the Boston Celtics. But, he doesn't have that aura. I remember Colin Cowherd saying the same thing. He doesn't have that aura. It's just like
I think Anthony Edwards has more face of the NBA to him than Jason Tatum.
He does, but he plays in Minnesota.
He plays in Minnesota.
Well, so what? Kevin Garnett was one of the faces of the NBA, and he played for Minnesota.
Not like he was when he went to Boston.
Okay.
I agree with that.
I'm a Milwaukee guy, so I hate the whole small market thing and blah 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 blah. But it's a thing that we talked about it in the NFL. When you're the Dallas Cowboys starting quarterback, that's different than being the Jacksonville Jaguars starting quarterback. It's no
matter how good you are, facts.
So, look, if you're, yeah, they're gonna go after that time anyway. But I don't know. Ants got it, but it's Minnesota. Jokic is too Jokic-y. Like he's just not. He doesn't have the personality.
He's the new Tim Duncan.
I guess.
I think the league's waiting on Luka. I think at this point.
That's my just literally was about to say Luka. That's the only possibility is that it would be Luka. But I don't know if he. Like, usually the face of the league is by far the best player in the league.
Exactly.
And I don't think anybody after Steph, LeBron, and KD retire, I don't think anybody is like, I think everybody agrees that Jokic is the best player in the league. But he doesn't have the personality or whatever. You can't market him. You can't market him and market him, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? As the face of the league. And I don't think anybody else is like, there's no clear-cut best player.
Mm-hmm.
And Wemby, for all he could be, he's kind of awkward looking. Like he just kind of looks like Slender Man. Like just kind of looks, awkward. Like doesn't have plastic that. Man. Yeah, it looks like plastic. It looks like he just doesn't look right. Like there's Jordan had the smile. Curry has the smile, and he's lovable, and he's sitting there with his daughter. LeBron is, has just been always bigger than life. Magic had the smile and this like the over the top personality and the over friendly. So I don't know. They don't really have anybody. It's going to be a very weird. It's going to be who is the I'll like because that's the thing. Is this going to be an era like after Jordan where it's kind of like no man's land?
Well, even during that era after Jordan, you at least Tim Duncan, although he was not marketable. The Spurs themselves were marketable, so they marketed him with David Robinson as the Twin Towers. Then you had the Shaq and Kobe factor.
Yeah.
And then you had Allen Iverson, who, although people don't want to say he was the face of the league, he was one of the faces of the league.
Oh, absolutely.
2001, he was the face of the league.
He was, people don't want to acknowledge that he was the face of the league because he was so anti-establishment, but he was the face of the league. When you think about And the thing is, after the Jordan era, the focus, people don't want to admit this, but the focus was back on super teams rather more so than super players. When you think about Shaq and Kobe, super team. When you think about the San Antonio Spurs, super team. When you think about the Detroit Pistons, super team. When you think about the Indiana Pacers, when they had Steven Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, Reggie Miller, super team. So they went the team route rather than just the faces route, because couldn't no face replace Michael Jordan. Although Shaq was a big, huge personality, you saw after 2005 how it was he was at wit's end. And people don't want to acknowledge this as well. It had to go that route because after 2004, unfortunately, Kobe was not a media darling at that point due to a lot of off the court stuff. So yeah, he didn't really. In reality, Kobe didn't become a media darling again until after the U.S. Olympic team. After he led the U.S. Olympics to the gold medal.
And he was past the prime at that point.
No, he went past the prime. He won the MVP the very next year. But
I'm thinking about the later, like even then, like he wasn't. I don't think he was beloved until like really beloved until after he retired.
I think it was like after he led the Dream Team and then won back-to-back without Shaq, I think he got back in the media's good graces again. I mean, I really think he got back in the media's good graces. You know, but before, especially after 2008 when he lost the finals, people were pretty much validating this is why they should have never let Shaq go. But remember, Shaq won. So it was open season on him. So, you know, not to mention he had asked to be traded right before they traded for Paul Gasol, you know, which they got him for a song, you know. So yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see who is the absolute face of the NBA, because like I said, Jason Tatum has the potential, but he doesn't have that aura. It's just like it's kind of like early Roman Reigns. You know the potential's there, but he doesn't have that aura. You know, it's like, I want you to be the face, but you don't have the aura. But
fans ain't behind him like that either. It's almost like check this out. It's almost like Jason Tatum's like the John Cena, Anthony Edwards is like the Randy Orton.
Yeah. So it's a lot of stuff they get. This next face of the league is going to be very, very interesting. I think that he ends up being the face of the league if he wins the title this year. I think they're gonna push the hell out of him if he wins the NBA title this year.
But in a way though, he needs to show out. He needs to be head and shoulders above as far as like why they win the NBA title. It doesn't need to feel like he got carried there again. You know what I'm saying?
Who, Jason Tatum?
Yeah.
If he wins that and wins the MVP, I think they'll push him to the moon.
Yeah, because I remember shout out to Casual. I remember after the NBA Finals, he made the point when we were talking about who's the best player in that series, and he just flat out said Jason Tatum because he opened everything up for everybody. And I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. But even still, even though he opened it up for everybody, somebody still has to take advantage of that and has to, score and play, step up and play, kind of overachieve. And Jaylen Brown did that in those NBA finals. So I think Jason Tatum needs to be like from this point forward, he needs to just rip and just run through and dominate. We say he's the best player on the Boston Celtics. He needs to show it from this point out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had Casual on, and I think me and him, I think we all kind of argued about it.
I remember that.
I look at it as even if Casual's right, and he opened it up. It's like the Steph Curry thing. Well, the reason why everybody can get open shots is because everybody's content. That's a valid argument. But the narrative, right or wrong, is that not that he was carried, but he wasn't the guy.
Okay, he wasn't the guy.
Yeah, he wasn't the guy, and I think that's the problem. I think it's like when Curry, when they won the title and Iguodala was the MVP. Everybody felt it was weird. Everybody was like, well, if Curry's the best player in the league at the time, why is he not the MVP? And why did this look like it was and there was that narrative. Like Steph, and then KD came. And then there was that little like, well, it's Steph, blah, blah, blah. Like Steph didn't like get that monkey off his back until the last title that he had.
Until he beat the Celtics.
The ball team.
So I think Tatum's kind of suffering from the same thing right now. Is he the unquestioned best player on the team? Yes, absolutely. I don't think anybody's going to argue that Curry wasn't the best player. Even when Durant was there, I think you could argue that Curry was the best player on that team.
That's the only time in Curry's career you could make an argument he wasn't the best player on the team. But even still, I felt like KD's like success with those teams, as far as like just being he was even more of a sniper he was in Golden State than he was in OKC because he had Steph.
And I look at like what has KD done after he left? Nothing. It's literally nothing.
Nathan.
Yeah. So I think Tatum's kind of suffering from the Curry thing. So I think that's the problem. And I think you're right. There's got the narrative at least has to change. Whether, again, right or wrong, that narrative has to change. And if it doesn't, like if the Knicks put him out, ooh.
I do not. Boy, if the Knicks put them out, I do not want to be on IG, TikTok, Twitter. I don't want to be on none of those if the Knicks put the Celtics out. I don't.
That's going to be ugly.
The Knicks are up right now by 3.
Like Champ said, boy, they're going to be uglier than the Masterpiece sneakers.
Dude, they're up by 3 right now with 10 minutes left. I mean, there's 10 minutes left, but the Knicks are still up by 3. If they go up 3-1,
believe it or not, this is a must-win for New York. This is a must-win.
I also want to bring something up. If Boston loses, let's say the Knicks knock him out, tell me the Jaylen Brown trade doesn't happen finally.
Jaylen Brown's gone. If they get put out, I think he's gone. Yep. Go and send him to Atlanta. I think he's on a one-way trip to Atlanta. I'm not even joking. I think he's going to Atlanta.
This is why I think it would be an actual mistake by Milwaukee to trade Giannis. Because I don't think right now, it's like I look at Cleveland. Cleveland is, yes, they had a phenomenal regular season, and that's cute and all, but now they're losing to the Pacers. I look at the lay of the land, and if I'm Giannis, and don't get me wrong, I don't know what you can put around him, but I think the NBA is a lot closer than we all kind of think right now, especially when we lose Steph and KD and LeBron. I look at the Eastern Conference, and I'm like, if Boston gets broken up, I think it's a kind of a free-for-all in the Eastern Conference.
Fact.
I think I think it would be a mistake for Giannis unless he gets traded to like San Antonio or something, and it's him and Wemby or something like that. Then fine, but I think if I'm Milwaukee, and I think it's a mistake because if he wins if he could somehow win another one in Milwaukee somehow, but yeah, I'm just curious. I think if the Knicks pull this off.
I won't rush. Okay, I'll pump the brakes a little bit. I won't rush to say Jaylen Brown is gone but I do think Boston entertains offers for. I think they think about entertaining offers for Jaylen Brown. I think they do. I think they think about it. I wouldn't if I was them personally, but I think they entertain. I think they listen.
Now I'm going to give a little credit to. I saw a TikTok with Rachel Nichols, who was the one they asked where Giannis goes. If you're Milwaukee and this is kind of her thing, if Boston came to Milwaukee and said we'll trade you Jaylen Brown and whatever for Giannis, who says no?
Good Lord. Depends on the rest of that deal. Because I'm not saying yes to just Jaylen Brown and just whatever. I think it's got to be at least another 1 year quality starters, and then it's just got to be draft capital galore.
Yeah.
Because as good as Jaylen Brown is, I'm not saying yes to just Jaylen Brown. You gonna have to. You're gonna have to give me a city block at least.
Yeah, I mean, at least if you want me to give you my whole car lot, you want me to give you my Rolls Royce, it's gonna cost you 3 BMW.
That's what I'm saying.
At least 3 BMW.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying straight up. I'm just saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying what I'm saying is it's got to be like Jaylen Brown and another starter, and then the draft capital, not Jaylen Brown and then the draft capital. It's got to be another starter. I mean, it's got to be like a combination of like a Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and then the draft capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who says no?
You don't say no. You don't say no to Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis. You don't, because Kristaps Porzingis is still a boy. He's still a dog when he's on the floor.
Yeah, he's healthy.
When he's healthy, he's still a dog.
Hey, that would be very, very interesting. Speaking of aura, just flat out, just when you think about basketball, your mind just, even 25 years removed, almost 30 years removed from the last game, you still haven't forgotten about him. Michael Jordan. What are y'all's thoughts on Michael Jordan being a special consultant, a special commentator? His role is not fully being defined as far as his broadcasting, but what do you think about him joining that broadcast team? Now, keep in mind, this is the NBA on NBC. This is something that Jordan helped build.
Bro, Michael Jordan is synonymous with the NBA on NBC. This is why I love this so much. He is synonymous with the NBA on NBC. That's why I love this. And you had already alluded to it. Like, they don't know what his role is going to be in this or not. But even if he's just a desk analyst, which is honestly what I feel he'd be, like a desk analyst. Like him breaking down, him looking at film and looking at the game film and breaking it down, like, like.
I got a question. It is what is happening to the NBA show on TNT?
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone unless they do something like, I think Charles said he wants to do something like YouTube related or something like that, and he wants to keep them, and he wants them to stick with him. He said something to that nature before. He wants to bring them all like on more like a not, I don't want to say like a podcast, something like something YouTube. He doesn't want them to break up like that. But yeah, I mean the TNT show, I think after this year is done.
See, I heard it was done. And then I heard like they're going to try and run it back or not run it back or something. TNT is.
Trust me, I would be if they continue to run it back. I'd be for it, because I think they are one of the greatest if not the greatest, in terms of just sports death shows ever created.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, absolutely. But can you imagine like that crew and you kind of sprinkle in Jordan every now and then?
Who, boy, what? I would love it so much. I would love it so much.
And if I'm, I don't know who's all on the NBA on NBC, but if I'm NBC, I throw the bank at Ernie, Kenny, Barkley, and Shaq, and have Jordan just sprinkled in every now and then.
Yeah, because if they think Shaq and Barkley's bad, they ain't heard Jordan Barkley. They think Shaq Barkley bad. Jordan Barkley, oh my God. Oh boy.
But by the way, I don't know how long. Did anybody see how long the contract is for the Jordan thing? Did we see any details?
It's just for one. It's 1 year so far, but it's just 1 year. It's kind of like a trial run. And I don't think he's got. I think he's going to be on limited appearances at a certain point. It's going to be certain interviews. Go ahead. What happened?
Oh no, I'm watching this clinic of an AJ Styles Finn Balor match.
Yeah, it is a clinic.
Everybody forgets how good Baylor is.
Finn Balor. But
I don't think he's going to be a full timer. But I was just thinking, like, if Brady got like 10 years, $375 million from Fox,
Mike could get that easy.
They probably
pay him. They probably give him half the damn station.
If Brady can get $375, Jordan can at least get a half a bill.
For 10 years, easy. I don't think he's signed for that long, but yeah.
They probably give Jordan half the station. So we probably give half. We're gonna give you half the station, Mike. But that's about it. But I think it's gonna be limited appearances. It's kind of like for our special, for special situations, we're gonna bring in the GOAT. I think it's gonna be like that. So that's what. But I cannot wait to see him on the NBA on NBC. Like I said, when I think about that theme song, I think about that. The first thing I see is Jordan shooting that ball.
I think of him, Marv Albert, and Bob Costas.
Exactly.
Those are the three people I think of.
Yes.
And the fact that we know they're bringing the round ball rock song back for this. You couldn't have another theme song for the NBA on NBC than that.
No, not at all.
You couldn't have another song? No.
Can you imagine them coming up with some other song? You think people were pissed when Luka was traded? Holy shit!
Boy, they were riot if the NBA on NBC had a different theme song other than round ball rock.
You know what the thing is? The one thing I love is I'm hoping that they bring back the storytelling right before the game. Remember when Bob Costas, I will say this, Bob Costas, I love how he used to tell those wonderful stories, even before good regular season games. He used to tell those games were story. It was like WWE build-up. It was like, wow, it's kind of like you listen to him say certain stuff. It's like, wow, this is just a regular season game. I didn't think about that. It's just
because they've already said they're bringing back the pregame calling out starting lineups. They're bringing that back.
Yes, so they need to bring back Bob Costas telling those amazing build-up stories to those games. I mean, because those were amazing. I mean, and that to have the background music in to say how the team has been on the skid as of lately. Tonight, can they get it back right? Those were things of those little nuances that Bob Costas used to bring to the table, and that was just kind of, and it was very, very special.
Marv Albert game. I know he's like 83. Just give me one more.
Boom, baby.
Give me one more. Give me one more Marv Albert game. That's it. I don't know if he can still do it. I don't think he's commentated since like 2015, but like I would love one more Marv Albert game. That would be great.
Boom, baby. just one more time. Boom, baby. Y'all don't remember that, do you?
Oh, I remember that.
Every time Reggie Miller boom, man.
But if they can still wheel out Dick Vitale out there and Lee Corso, they can roll out Marv Albert one more time.
Yeah. Big shout out to Lee Corso, man. Happy retirement.
Happy retirement.
Real quick. This is just real quick segment. Speaking of the NBA, real quick. What team would an NBA championship mean the most to?
The Knicks.
Knicks.
Damn,
the Knicks. Not even close. It's not even close.
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, if the Knicks won the NBA championship, people would have to move out of New York. It would get that crazy. It's the Knicks, and it's not even close.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't
think there's another team left in the playoffs. No.
Dude, after all the heartbreak that the Knicks have suffered in the mid-90s against Jordan and the Bulls, after losing to Olajuwon and the Knicks, suffering for the Carmelo Anthony years and being relevant but not relevant enough. There is the New York Knicks winning when was the last time they won a title? 73?
73, something like that. Yeah.
The Willis Reed game.
Yeah. There are few franchises right now in sports, in American sports, where winning a title would put whatever star would make them a god in that city. If they win a title this year, Jalen Brunson would be a god in this city, in New York.
Absolutely.
It's like the Browns won a title. If the Browns won a title, whoever was the quarterback at the time that led that team would be a god in that city. Like there are just certain franchises winning titles that just mean the Knicks. The Yankees are the king there, but the Knicks run the town. If that makes sense, the Yankees have been winners.
You're right. The Yankees are like the biggest winners of that city. The New York Knicks still run the back. The New York Knicks still run the back page.
They run the back page. They do. If Knicks won the title, oh my God, and part of it is because Madison Square Garden is one of the most famous arenas in the world.
Exactly. Like not only let them win the championship, let them clinch it in Madison Square Garden.
Oh man. I don't even know. Amazing.
That would be one of the greatest celebrations I've ever seen. Yeah. Straight up. And here I am as a Hawks fan, knowing I have a player who has routinely beat the daylights out of New York Knicks, showing love to the Knicks, knowing how much a championship would mean in that city.
I feel like they have to win this game, though. They can't. Boston can't tie this series. If New York wins,
I agree.
If New York wins this game, I think they can win the series. I think they'll close out the series. If Boston ties this series up, Boston will come back and win.
Yeah, because don't nobody want to go to Boston and play.
No, you do not want to go back. You do not want to go back to Boston. Under any circumstances, you do not want to go back.
To end this, you need to. They'll go up 3-1, and you can end this. And it would be completely demoralizing for Boston to go down 3-1 because I don't think this Boston team has the emotional, mental fortitude to go down 3-1 to a Knicks team like this.
Exactly, and then a game 5 in Madison Square Garden. That momentum, I think, would be too much.
They'd be done.
Yes, indeed. I thought that a title would mean a lot to OKC as well, considering they're a small market team, and you don't get a lot of big free agents to come there, and Sam Presti, the Sam Presti factor, one of the greatest general managers, arguably in history. Only thing he needs is one NBA title to solidify himself because he's been a master at finding talent. And, for you to, I mean, I can't even name a time since they've been in Oklahoma City where they had a losing record. You know, I really can't name what time where they missed the playoffs. So
I think a champion. I think a championship more than anything with Oklahoma City would validate all the work that Sam Presti's put in to basically rebuilding this thing back up from the ground up and to get a championship. I think this would validate him. He's instantly a Hall of Famer as an executive. If he's not already now, he's a Hall of Fame executive if he wins a chip. It validates everything about this process of the Oklahoma City Thunder after KD and Russ and James Harden basically after they left to build this thing back up from the ground up to validate to win a championship. I think if anything, I think they would be the most out of the teams left. They would be the most validated. I'll say that they would be the most validated with a championship.
Yeah, and how great would it be to see them in New York in the finals? Small market versus big market. That would be huge. I really think it would be. Let's shift gears to the NFL. Everybody knows that we all love the NBA, the WNBA. We all love wrestling, but that pig skin is the king. The pig skin is the king. So we had a big trade that just happened just a week ago, not too long ago. George Pickens traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a song. He is now paired up with CeeDee Lamb and so, I mean,
you say traded for a song?
Yeah, for a song. Yeah. The thing is, look, if you was gonna get something, if I had George Pickens is George Bulldog number one. He's George Bulldog number one. Number two, it's gonna cost you at least a second round pick. That's just a fact. At least a second rounder. But yeah, for you to have traded him to Dallas for a song like that is kind of crazy. Plus, Dallas is more dangerous than ever, in my humble opinion, because you got two big, huge threats. You got a guy who nearly won a Triple Crown championship not too long ago, who was a banger, and you have George Pickens, who's a home run here, and he doesn't need that many targets.
Real quick though, because I know you had another question on the itinerary as far as topics for the day. I'm gonna say this real quick. This trade does not make Dallas a Super Bowl contender still.
We was getting into that later in the segment.
Yeah.
But, you just talk about spoiler alert. But damn, just gave away the whole script, don't you? But just gave away the whole damn script, didn't you? But
well, I had to get it out there because I know Cowboys fans are excited, but we need to bring them down a little bit. No, you ain't. You still ain't. Y'all ain't them guys yet. Still.
Well, the thing is, the whole thing about this is when you add in a second home run hitter like a George Pickens, of course, that's going to bring excitement. Now,
I love the trade. I love the fact that they were able to get him because now CeeDee Lamb doesn't have to carry all the burden of that offense as far as like the skill positions or whatnot. He doesn't have to carry that. He's got somebody on the other side. As long as his head is in the game, he's got somebody that he can rely on that can go out and get his. Say if he's having a bad game, George Pickens can go out and get his because I feel. Is it crazy to say right now with some of the catches George Pickens has made so far in his career, he has the best hands in the league?
Yeah, it's one of the best hands in the league, and that's why I was getting at, and that's why I posed that question. Because the thing is, with him going to you can't double both of them. It's kind of like having, and I know this is a stretch. I'm reaching when I say this. So let me say that to our audience again. I know I'm reaching when I say this. It's kind of like having Moss and Chris Carter. Because you have a home run hitter in George Pickens, and you have a guy that can get you possession, and who is also a home run hitter in the form of CeeDee Lamb. So you have two big home run hitters that can just feed out there. So I really think that them getting a George Pickens pair along with CeeDee Lamb, it puts them on par with the Eagles receiver corps. They have A.J. Brown and Smith. And so you pair a George Pickens along with CeeDee Lamb, guess what? You're able to match their firepower. Now, I don't know what you're going to do at the running back position, which we will pose that question at a later time for the next question when we go into the next segment. But I think this is a great trade for Dallas. So it shows the fans that, hey, let's go there for the kill.
Oh, Boston's done.
Oh, for real?
Oh, Tatum's down, and he's hurt.
No, he's hurt?
Uh-oh.
I didn't see how he went down, but.
Oh, damn.
Hold on.
You going to get up?
I don't know. They all look, all his teammates look like he's in pain.
Let's hold our collective breath.
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Like he's basically got his face in the floor. Oh, they cut the commercial.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That sounds serious. That sounds serious.
That ain't good.
Yeah, it's finna get up. It's about to get uglier than the Masterpiece sneakers again.
Do I think that this makes Dallas a contender? Look, I've made the argument. Everybody complains about Jerryjones at running the Dallas Cowboys, and I've been one of the few people that I think that he's actually done a pretty good job. He just can't pick a coach to save his life. That's the problem.
Because he want to be the damn coach. That's why.
The man can put together a fantastic roster, but he can't pick. So this really depends on coaching. Is Brian Schottenheimer the guy? And I think with my stupid grin on my face, I don't think he's the guy.
No, not at all. I agree. I'm right there with you. I don't think he's a guy.
I think Brian Schottenheimer did a great job in New York.
Oh, non-contact. Oh
no.
ACL?
No.
No. He's done.
Oh, no.
I think it's his Achilles.
Oh God. Well, we got another. Sound like another torn Achilles to me. Damn, bro. Regardless of what you think about Boston, I ain't want them going out. I ain't want them going out like that without their best play on the floor.
The last handful of years, a lot of the NBA playoffs have been ruined by injuries, and I don't ever like to see. I don't like to see injuries.
Damn. Yeah, and I'm in one of the IG chats. They just said that I think Jason Tatum just tore his Achilles.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh, it's game. That Brunson just hit a 3.
It's serious. It ain't just game. It's series. They're finished.
It's over. Yeah,
I think it's series. They're finished. I think it's series. They're finished.
Jason Tatum ain't playing. You out. You out of there, partner.
You're done. Jaylen Brown had to go complete God mode. I think they're done.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, unless the Knicks completely emotionally and physically fall apart here, like I don't see how. Wow. I
don't see it. I think they have so much momentum right now. No, I don't see it.
I don't either. Wow.
Man.
Wow. So are we going to see let's see, NBA.
Boy, we about to get we might be getting a throwback Eastern Conference final matchup.
I was about to say,
Reggie Miller versus the Knicks. Reggie Miller.
I'm telling you, boy, Reggie Miller versus Patrick Ewing all over again. Look like we might be getting it.
Hey, remember Little C's used to say it. I'm about to upset New York like Reggie Miller. I'm about to.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I mean, man. Yeah. Pacers, Knicks, and then I really do. I gotta say,
I cannot believe that. Boy, I'd be mad as hell. I'd have came all this way and my Achilles want to act bad. Boy, I'd be mad as a sun gun.
I'm telling you.
I'd be mad as hell. Like, really? Like,
now, what we were proposing earlier about Jaylen Brown, no way you do that trade now. There's no way you do it now. You're not gonna. You can't. Yeah, no, you can't. You can't do it now because you're gonna be without Jason Tatum for quite possibly all of 2025. Yeah,
that's done. I gotta say,
Yeah.
Let's say the Knicks and the Pacers move on, and we get Knicks Pacers Eastern Conference Finals. What's the matchup that you want to see then? Because then on the other side, we got the Thunder, the Nuggets, and then the Timberwolves and the Warriors.
What do you mean? What are you asking as far as like matchup? What you talking about?
Finals. Who do you want to see in the finals?
OKC versus New York.
Who I want to see in the finals?
OKC versus New York.
Minnesota, New York. Minnesota, New York.
From a young team standpoint, I want to see Minnesota, New York. But I also want to see Steph chase the 5th ring in the Garden.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That would, I think, out of all the matchups left, if the Knicks put Boston out, that would be the highest drawing and would definitely be the most interesting. Would be Golden State, New York.
It would
by a long shot. By a long shot.
Because I'm hoping that Steph can get back because I know he hurt his hamstring. They said about a week. I'm hoping that somehow Golden State can pull it off and tie up this series. Just to hold off on Curry maybe coming back. I haven't looked to see where he's at.
They're saying earliest game 6 he comes back.
Game 6.
From the reports I've seen, the earliest he could come back, he might be coming back as game 6. So probably no 4 and no 5.
So I gotta ask this question, man. Why don't guys, when Jerry West pulled his hamstring? I wonder why guys don't have the trainer. Remember what he had? He had his trainer inject Novocaine into his leg. So I don't know. Wonder why guys don't.
Oh boy.
Yeah, because they gave they gave Jerry West 2 shots of Novocaine in this league, and he scored like 4 to 6 points in that series against the Boston Celtics. So,
yeah, that's because at halftime they were drinking a 30-pack of beer and smoking a pack of cigarettes on top of it. Like that wasn't. It was just a different time, dude. It's just a different.
Hey man, give me some of that Novocaine. I go out there and try to.
Oh, I know, dude. I miss those days of like Ronnie Lott cutting off your finger to go play in a game like that. Just
Hey, I love football to life. And especially I love boxing to life, but Stephon is not cutting any fingers off of any of them.
No, I'm not. No, I ain't that serious.
Stephon is not cutting any fingers off. No, indeed not. So yeah, man, this game is pretty much over unless they pull some Reggie Miller type stuff out their hat. So I gotta ask this question before we move on from the George Pickens trade and go into the next segment, man. Is this a foregone? If New York is to when New York wins this series, is it just foregone conclusion that they're going to go to a finals, or will
Oh no. Indiana gonna get him hell.
Indiana's got a little something. I don't know.
Indiana gonna get him hell because I like what Indiana is able to do as far as like how they play offense. Like even though Tyrese Halliburton is like the face of the franchise, it's not. I like how they do it to where it's not necessarily just him. Like he's the best player, but it's like I don't know. I like what they do. I like how they play defense. I like their bench with Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell and guys like that. I love their bench. Indiana would. I think that series goes 7. I think Indiana will get them all types of hell.
It for all the crap that Halliburton gets, if they beat Milwaukee, they beat Giannis, then they go beat the number 1 seed Cleveland. Let's just say they either go 7 to New York or beat New York and get to the finals. Does all that shit talking against Halliburton go away finally?
I think a lot of it goes away. It does. A lot of it goes away.
I don't get why does he get as much flack as he does?
He's a small market player, number 1. Number 2, he didn't play a lot during the Olympics at a certain point.
He get nowhere. I think where the flack comes in with him is like over the course of this season, he didn't really maintain a high level of consistency. Like he had that one stretch where he was just like lights out and just destroying people, and then he went a long stretch where he was just like invisible. And I think he does that a little bit too much. Like as good as he is, he's not always consistent.
Well, the thing
So I feel so if he hits a level where he's just like putting in that work game in and game out and game in and game, like this playoff run, like if he really starts putting up numbers, he'll shut everybody up.
And at times, although he's a facilitator, I feel like he's a little bit too passive.
Yeah, exactly.
Too passive. It's like, bro, just take over. You're the best player on your team. You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
You have a funky 3-point shot, but that sucker go in when you shoot it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that back to the George Pickens trade. I think that trade was a great trade. Do I think it evens the balance of power? Not so much. I think the Eagles are still the team to beat, and a close second is the Washington football team. So I really think that although it's a good trade, it really doesn't move the needle on a lot of things. I don't think this puts them as Super Bowl contenders since Mr. Spoiler Alert here wants to just spoil the entire
I mean, it doesn't because as good as the passing game, as much better as the passing game is going to be at the end of the day, who they going to stop?
Yep. I mean, which leads me to my next question. Should Dallas also make a move for Nick Chubbs?
They should think about it.
I mean, why not?
Give it a go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Pretty cheap. You get him on a 1-year deal. I don't see why you wouldn't. Yeah, I don't know.
I think on the offensive side of the ball, I think you go all out. I think you should. I think you go all out, at least on the offensive side of the ball. You have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb to throw the ball to. You got Jake Ferguson, who's turning into a really good tight end, and then you got Nick Chubb behind you. Drafting Tyler Booker is going to help that offensive line. Go for it. I see no reason why they shouldn't.
Yeah. All right. Well, we already answered this question. Are the Eagles still the team to beat on paper in the NFC East, or does the balance of power change? I think the board is unanimous. No.
Yeah, that's easy.
Eagles are definitely still the team. It's still Eagles, Commanders, Cowboys in that order in terms of balance, in terms of power.
Yeah. So, pipe bomb at the last minute pipe bomb. What is your hot take for the NFL season? What is a too early hot take?
Flash, I'll let you go first if you got one.
I think the best running back in the NFL draft rookie year will be, speaking of the NFC East, what's his face? Scatterboo.
I know you're about to say, yeah.
I like him.
I do. I love him.
I like him.
That's my hot take. I think he is the best running back that comes out of this draft year one. Not saying Genty's going to have a bad year. I'm rooting for that guy. I never thought I'd root for anything in a Giants uniform, and I can't help it. By the way, does Jackson Dart throw a pretty ball? Wow. Just seeing some.
Yes, I will give him that. He throws a gorgeous ball.
It's so pretty. Look, I'm not saying he's going to be greater. I'm just saying at least in pads and shorts or in helmet and shorts, boy, does he throw a pretty ball. But that's my hot take. I think Scatterboo is or whatever you pronounce his name. I was calling him Scatterboo or Scoots.
But no, you're right though. It's Cam Scatterboo. You're right. It's Scatterboo.
Honestly, if his nickname isn't Scoots, I don't know what to do with
He called himself Scat Pack.
Scat Pack? No, it needs to be Scoots. It needs to be Scoots. I think he's going to possibly be rookie of the year, but that I don't know about. I'll go. You know what? I'll fucking own it. Scoots is going to be rookie of the year. That's my hot take.
Whoo, boy, that's flaming. I'm definitely not agreeing with you on that one, but a hot take is a hot take for a reason.
Why not? I'll just own it. I'll go with it.
Oh, you know what? Hey, but you know what though? I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it because even though it is a hot take and I don't agree with it, It's a realistic take. Hot take for the 2025 NFL season. Michael Penix Jr. finishes top 10 in MVP voting.
That ain't crazy. That ain't really that's not really a hot take. Everybody a lot of the analysts have him finishing top 10 at least. He's a dark horse MVP in a lot of people's opinion.
I said this how long ago?
Yeah, you said it. Damn.
See, they watch us, champ. I said this after the season ended that Michael Penix was going to be is a dark horse MVP candidate. They watch us. They listen and they learn. They watch us.
Not that part. But really, he's a top 10 MVP candidate.
Yeah, why not?
With the weapons that they have on the offense, the offensive line being complete. I mean, the thing is, they still don't have a lot of tape on him in the NFL level. They only got like 2 or 3 games, so it's still they're still going to have to figure him out throughout the year. So, here's my thing though. With a guy like him, even when I feel like with a guy like him, his arm talent is just so rare. His arm talent is so rare. Like that one throw he made against Carolina, that line drive that Daryl Hodge basically threw cover 2 on the sidelines. Just my God, bro.
I mean, I can't see it like at all. I mean, let's see. I'm just looking up odds real quick. Odds 2025.
I give my hot take while you looking that up.
We
will have 4 NFC East teams in the playoffs.
4.
All 4 of them will make the playoffs.
Oh boy!
I thought you would have said about the NFC North.
No, man, boy, yeah, we all on hot takes today. All 4 NFC East teams. You think the Giants are getting in?
Yes, I think depending on how, even if they have to bring in, even if Jackson Dart is forced to play, that team has enough talent right now on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball to make a run to surprise a lot of people.
Dude,
I don't know, man. I don't think they did enough in their secondary, though.
I mean, you got to make it to the. I mean, the thing is that pass rush that they have, you have all those pass rushers going to make it easier on the defensive backs this year.
I can agree. I can see that if they were all on the field a lot, but they're not all going to be on the field a lot at the same time.
So I think that pass rush is going to definitely make it easy for them. So yeah, I really think it is.
All right. I just want to go back to the Penix thing. Now, don't get me wrong. He's the fancy long shot pick. By the way, he is like 60-1 odds, so you might as well just throw a couple bucks on him. But Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels. That's 5 right there.
Okay.
Then you got Then you got CJ Stroud. You got Saquon Barkley. You have Jordan Love. Jalen Hurts. Well, all right. Like if he's going to sneak in the top 10, it's going to be like 10.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where in the top 10 as long as he's top 10.
All right. Okay. All right. Not as crazy as I thought. Okay. Okay. All right. You still got Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Couple others in there, but it's okay. It's not crazy. Okay, all right. I had to like really think about it for a second and go like man, like there's got to be 10 guys that easy. Like it's not. I know he's got the weapons. Okay. All right.
I have another super hot take.
Okay.
Bijan Robinson rushes for 1,800 yards.
Good God!
Did they get rid of Algie?
No, they're not getting rid. No. This is a contract year for him.
I don't And I think rushing for 1,800 is a little bit of a stretch, but I think he combines for over 2,000 easy.
What did he run for last year, champ?
This year, I think.
He almost did that this year.
I think he did that this year, didn't
he? He did like what? 13, 1,400 this year?
13. It was 1,300 yards this year.
It's not ridiculous. Even with Tyler Algier, it's not ridiculous.
Let's see. Hold up.
I think he goes 2,000 combined.
He rushed for 1,456 and had 431 receiving.
So he almost went 2,000 from scrimmage last year. He almost went 1,500 rushing last year.
I think he goes. I think he goes 16-6.
I can see. Yeah, I like 2,200 all purpose. That's a good prediction.
That's my prediction. I think 2,200 all purpose, and I think his touchdowns massively go up because his touchdowns were. He only had. Where are the touchdowns?
Yeah, I have I got another hot take for the season too.
He only had one receiving touchdown. Well, he had 15 total touchdowns. So but I think that number goes up. Go ahead, BRF. Sorry.
I think at least there will be 120 sack guy this season. I could legit see it. I think there's going to be a 20 sack guy this season. I could legit see it.
I think it's going to be Micah Parsons.
I think it's going to be TJ Watt.
That's not too much of a stretch because he already had a 20 sack season.
Yeah, he's already done that.
I know, but those seasons are still so rare. They're still rare. Yeah. Like there's like you got Micah Parsons, you got him, you got Myles Garrett, you got a dark horse of somebody like Nick Bonito with Denver. Who else is there? I mean, there's other guys out there. I'm not saying he's going to. I think a guy like Dexter. I think Dexter Lawrence is going to get way above double digits this year as a defensive tackle. Because I think he was at like 9.5 last year before he got hurt. So I definitely think 12 to 15 sacks is realistic for Dexter Lawrence. I know. I remember the Patrick Mahomes prediction I made last year, and that was just like, ugh. I was thinking he was going to set the passing record, and that didn't work.
That's okay. I thought that Xavier Worthy was going to be a top rookie of the year candidate, and that just that looked great like week one, and then. Ugh.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that was all on him. I think it was like, I think there was chances too because I think they were using him too much as a gadget guy.
Yeah, I thought they would use him more in a traditional receiver role.
They should have because he's got the talent. If you saw him at Texas, he could play. He was a legit wide receiver at Texas.
That's what I thought. That's why I made the prediction I did. I'm like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to think of any other hot takes, NFL hot takes that I have. I want to say it, but I know it's not going to happen.
All right. This one's for my late great cousin.
Okay.
He was a hardcore fan of the Baltimore Ravens. So here's my hot take for you, Cuzzo, as you're watching down upon us, Sergeant Rhodes. The Baltimore Ravens finally get over the hump and make it to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
You know, it's funny as I was going to say that Cincinnati wins that division. That was going to be my other hot take.
What?
The Baltimore Ravens finally get over the hump and Lamar Jackson makes it to the Super Bowl.
Flash, you really gonna say Cincinnati's gonna win the North?
I didn't say I said I almost was going to say it, and then I backtracked, and I'm like, no.
Ooh, boy.
But I don't think it's that big of a stretch.
They can't stop nobody. Hell, I could go out there and get 100 yards.
They added pieces, but I like Stewart. I think he's gonna give them an asset. He's athletic. He's strong. I think he's gonna give them something. They're gonna have a better shot to do something if they pull a miracle out of the hat and keep Trey Hendrickson.
We don't know whether Cleveland has a quarterback yet. We don't know if Pittsburgh has a quarterback yet. We have no idea who they're. I mean, everybody thinks it's Rodgers, but he's too busy doing acid in some mud hole right now, so we have no idea what's going on with him.
What in the world?
And then you got Baltimore, and truthfully, like, yeah, it should be a foregone conclusion that they win that division, but I don't know. I don't think Cincinnati win that division. That's that far off. I think it's that defense just has to be average. That's it. Just got to be average. Because I think if Burrow's healthy, he's the second best quarterback in the league, or at least in the vicinity of 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the like I said, I've said it before. I call them the 4 horsemen of NFL quarterbacks. It's Mahomes, it's Allen, it's Jackson, and it's Burrow. They are the 4.
Yeah.
And then it's everybody else.
And I can make a healthy argument that Burrow's 2 out of all of them. Because you still got to put Mahomes as the man, until he's not the man, then it's like the Brady thing,
I'll be the man. Ooh, I still rank them. See, I still rank them Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, Burrow, but I mean that's just opinion based. I think you could definitely make a case for Burrow like 2 through 4. I think you can make a case.
I think if Burrow has another year and he's healthy, I think because it used to be Mahomes. It was like Mahomes and Burrow, and then Burrow got hurt. And then I think if Burrow has another healthy year and even plays even close to what he did last year, I think he takes back over number 2.
Yeah,
I can see it.
That's just my opinion. I think Joey B. He's the only guy that can go toe to toe with Mahomes and isn't scared. And I don't really count Jalen Hurts in that factor. That I mean, yeah, I guess you could, but in a different way. I'm not going to say that I'm not quite there yet, but when we get to our NFL prediction show, don't be shocked if I pick Cincinnati to win that division. Don't be shocked. I don't like the Pittsburgh thing. I don't like Aaron Rodgers going. Now they just took a weapon away from him too. Aaron Rodgers will probably bring in like Randall Cobb or something.
Alan Lazard. There's already been moved by Alan Lazard.
I would have like, you know what? I don't really like George Pickens. Let's bring in Randall Cobb and Jordy Nelson to replace him. Fucking fool. Other than that, any hot takes, I really got to think about that. But that's my not quite ready.
Yeah, I gotta look at stuff too because I know that was kind of like those were just a couple I had on the fly. Like I ain't had a chance to really like. Yeah, I gotta research and I gotta look before I can really pull out some good ones because I don't think those. I guess if you want to call the Michael Penix one a good one, but I don't know, man. I just what he showed me, especially that just what he showed me, man. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but like my main thing with him is just he's already got the chemistry with Drake London down. Like I think like don't be shocked if Drake London. See, here's a hot take. Drake London is going to lead the National Football League in receiving yards.
Is that a little bit of homerism going on right now?
But don't be shocked. I'm just telling you. When you have a quarterback in the receiver that already has that type of chemistry, and the way they looked with each other in 4 games, I'm just saying, give them a season. I'm just saying.
My big thing right now is we've been hearing about this Atlanta offense for a couple of years now, and it's like, guy, they finally got a quarterback with the arm talent to get these guys the ball. Hopefully, I know. I agree. I'm just saying it's the all right. Let me see it type thing. You know, that's it. I just want to see it. That's all I'm at right now. I just want to see, because they should be the best offense in the league.
It'll never get quite. It won't be like that 2016 offense, but they're gonna be good.
They should be. They should be the best offense in the league on paper.
I won't go that far. But they should be up there with like the Baltimores, the Cincinnatis of the world. They should be up there. They should be up there. Like they should be in the conversation.
They should be up there. Yeah,
they should be in the conversation.
Yeah, they got to. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like they should be in the conversation for it. And I just need to see more out of Penix. And maybe I'm just being a hater. I mean, that's a possibility. I haven't seen enough of him. I need more. He does throw a pretty ball though. It's awkward, but he throws a pretty ball.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think the NFC is probably is a really interesting, I think the most interesting conference, because you can make an argument that 2 of those divisions, all 4 teams could make not that they all will, but even if they but all 4 teams, like there's 2 divisions where 4 teams could make the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like the NFC East. Like, I know the Giants is a little bit of a stretch, but the NFC North is legit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all 4 of those teams can make the playoffs, and that's a realistic thing. So that
I personally think the only division in the NFC that could get all 4 is the North. Personally,
yeah,
I think the only division in the NFC that could possibly get all 4 is the North. Yeah, like I think like the NFC West right now is like, I feel like the West right now is like LA and everybody else. It's maybe Arizona after what they've done this offseason, but even still, like LA, the way they came on in the second half, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, I just like what they're gonna bring to the table this year. The East, I still feel like it's a 3-team race. I don't trust the Giants at all.
I don't either yet. It's a stretch. Don't get me wrong.
It's a stretch. Like everything would. I mean, I know we say that's with a lot of teams, but it's particularly with the Giants. Everything would have to go right for them to be like in playoff contention. Everything would have to go right, because I still don't think, even though they improved the defensive line, I still don't. That secondary. What if you're not always getting pressure? What if you're not getting pressure and that secondary is just left to fend for itself? I still don't trust that secondary. Like the NFC South, like Tampa to me is like, I mean, you got to beat Tampa. I mean, Tampa's a team to beat until you beat them. Well, until you win the division. I mean, Atlanta's going to be there. Carolina's making strides. I love what Carolina's been doing. The Saints, we're not even going to talk about them. They're the Saints. We're not even going to discuss them. But so yeah, the NFC is
wide open.
It even with the Super Bowl champions in your conference, it's pretty deep and it's pretty wide open.
Yeah, I agree.
But look, we ain't got to go home, but we got to get the hell up out of here for the evening. I will say for the evening, because we will be back very, very soon. And look, man, prayers up to Jason Tatum. Hope he gets well soon, man. You hate to see something like that, especially after having the game of one of the best games in the series at a certain point. But you hate to see something like that. but congratulations to New York. You can only control what you can control. So, hey,
exactly.
You got to capitalize on what you capitalize on, even if that does mean a star player getting hurt. So, hey, if you want to capitalize, go towards winning a championship. Now's the time. So, hey, you hate to see something like that happen, but hey, you hate to say it is what it is, but yeah, hey, in the great words of Triple H, when it comes to that NBA championship, you got to take it any way you could get it. So, so on that note, guys, look, thank y'all for tuning in. Like, subscribe in the comments. Shout out to the Great Sports PSP. Now at 105,000 followers, for joining us on the show. Thank you for everyone who tuned in tonight, who liked and subscribe. And hey, we will see you soon. Hey, don't forget, we will be bringing you that WNBA action later on. Don't forget about that as well. But on that note, we are out. The big three will see.